Well, welcome to another episode of Dad Chats. Today we're really excited to have Doug with us, Sweet Loren. Thank you for coming in, Doug.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Of course. Now we'll start off. Are you a dad?
I'm a dad.
Good.
Dad of 3 boys, so 25, 22, and 18.
Wow. So as a dad of 3 girls, that just boggles my mind.
Yeah, opposing forces in the universe.
Yes. Someone's told me when we were having our third girl, I don't know if this is true or not, that girls are easy when they're younger, but you pay for it when they're sort of older, versus boys are sort of a bit more full-on and raucous when they're younger, but settle down a bit earlier.
That's what I've heard, and I've never had girls in the house.
Neither of us can prove whether that's true or not.
But that's what I've heard.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I must admit, it feels to be true, so we'll see.
Right, maybe good luck later.
True. So, as I say, nice to have you here.
Yep.
Tell us a bit about yourself and what you do in the natural products industry and have done for the last few years.
Yeah, so my background is I got my MBA, business school, went into large cap CPG for 6.5 years. And then I've always been a bit of an entrepreneur, but didn't know it. Yep. And coming over to the natural products industry, which I've been here since 2003, early 2003. So, over 20 years. Here in the Boulder community, I've found that my love of entrepreneurialism and small growing companies. Yep. And I've, had the benefit of working with some amazing people in the community. I mean, as you know, it's a community-based industry. Definitely. Competitors can be friends. Yep.
Frenemies.
Yeah, exactly. Versus Coke and Pepsi. I mean, you walk into the Frito-Lay headquarters with a McDonald's cup, you get fired, I don't know if that literally ever happened, but the lore was for sure there. But, so I love the industry. I've spent the last 20 plus years and worked on some great brands, great companies in the industry. So I've been with Sweet Loren's as president for the last 1.5 years, working with Lauren Castle, our founder, and an amazing, inspirational entrepreneur, built the business from scratch. And we're having, many successes now and kind of our day in the sun. So it's a fun time to be here.
Fantastic. And for people that don't know the Sweet Loren's products, how would you quickly describe
it? So we're the number 3 cookie dough brand in the United States, behind Pillsbury and Nestle.
I was going to say, that's not the number 3 natural brand. Exactly. That's the number 3 brand.
And
that's
the number 1 better for you brand. So we've really separated ourselves. And I think in Lauren's brilliance, about 7 years ago, had one gluten-free SKU and realized that it had a lot of traction in the category and turned the whole franchise gluten-free, allergen-friendly. And Loren is absolutely dedicated to insanely delicious. So never give that up. It's just as good as a Pillsbury cookie or Nestle cookie, but you get all the added benefits of this kind of wow experience because it doesn't have gluten, nuts, soy, dairy, it goes on and on. So really, really phenomenal brand and great company to be with.
Yeah. I agree, and the products do taste amazing. Yeah. I've had them regularly, and the branding as well. I think the branding is really clear, stands out.
Fun, energetic, like real wow. I mean, flavor first, product first. Lauren's of all of the innovators and design minds I've been around, one of the most strategic, most successful I've been around.
Fascinating.
Yeah,
that's great. So you're a president, El Presidente.
Oh yeah.
So how do you? Explain your role to your kids, what you do. And I know sort of they're older now, so maybe how did it go younger? And has that evolved as they got older? Have they shown an interest in the business side of
it's
things?
Sort of funny because, so 3 kids, 2 interested in healthcare and health sciences and 1 in aviation.
Right.
So no business people, which, I still am like, can somebody just fall in love with business?
I want to talk P&L and profit.
But the other side of that coin is I sell food products, right? I always have, so they can connect to it. We've always had the food in the home from, our earliest days of organic, like, my kids grew up on Horizon Organic milk, butter, yogurt, cheese, Rudy's organic bread in their lunchbox every day. So they can relate to what I do in that sense. What's funny is there's this, then I was at Good Karma Flax Milk, and they didn't relate to that at all. They're like, what the hell is this? And now they're, tweens and teenagers. So now they're actually getting sharp with me and a little spunky, dogging me on what I do every day. There's this funny, it was a terrible movie, but it was Down and Out in Beverly Hills, like in the 90s. And this well-to-do Richard Dreyfuss, and they adopt this kind of bum in the house. But the daughter couldn't stand what the dad did. because he owned a hanger manufacturing company.
Yep.
If you remember, and he finally one day he goes, "It's hangers that feed you and hangers that close you." And so that's like I was with my kids. It's flax milk that feeds you and flax milk, but they didn't.
Yep.
So, but mostly because it's products that we get to bring home, and so they see it in the grocery stores, and that's generally how they've related to the business.
Yeah, and has that being in the natural food, bringing home, giving them food in their lunchboxes, has that now that they're older, do they continue that sort of?
Yeah, very much. Like super active family, we hiking, camping, skiing, sports. And I kind of grew up, like my mom used to say, eat close to the earth before anyone I ever heard, kind of a child.
Beautiful phrase.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so my kids have always kind of grown up, not a lot of chemicals in the house and that kind of thing. So, and it's great to see them participating that.
Nice.
Even now. It was funny, my middle, he was over at his uncle's one house, and he opens up the pantry and he goes, "Uncle Ricky, you got a lot of junk in here." And I was like, man, this is really going to stick. Like what I'm passionate about professionally and personally. I get to sell great food, and my kids really believe in it too. So it's been a fun connection to see them kind of take that and run with it.
That's good. That's encouraging, because I worry that my kids have a tendency to go the other way, right? Like mum and dad push me on all this healthy stuff. So now I get to make my own choices. I'm going to go crazy on all of that stuff. So we're it's a balance, right?
It is balance, right? It's not monolithic by any means. It's like, hey, you can indulge a little bit here, but take the long-term view and make sure what you're putting into your body, regardless of what it is going to treat your body well over the lifespan that you have.
And what we're trying to do at Good Crisp and what you guys are doing there at Sweet Loren's is try and make products that taste amazingly good first and then just happen to be there. So it shouldn't be a compromise.
No trade-off.
Right? Exactly. We can continue to keep eating that, and I don't feel the need to
absolutely.
do the other stuff.
I agree.
But those legacy brands have a 50, 60-year head start on us, and so there's some power of branding there we need to overcome.
Yeah, for sure. But they're not great innovators, right?
True.
They're big battleships. They're hard to turn. I used to run brands like that in those big companies. You don't get rewarded for taking risk.
Yep.
So I actually like our odds.
Yeah,
I think that we're set up well to do this. I think the Gen Z millennial consumer wants better food, wants more modern choices, wants transparency. So I think the macro trends long term are well in our favor.
I agree. I think we're only early in this, right? When you look at how many millions of people still don't really know what we do and the product and all that stuff.
Yeah, totally.
We're very early. So I was going to ask you as well, in our business, we do so much travel, particularly sort of you throughout all the years, all the different brands you've worked for. How's your kids, how's your family adapted to that work through that, particularly through the ages as well?
I think it's really hard. I mean, it's impossible to balance the way you want because, the demands of business, and these businesses are super hard, right? Super intense. Probably if I look back, that's the one thing, like you miss some things. I mean, you just do. There's no way around it. So, when iPhones and FaceTime and, seeing things live. The other thing too, like in corporate world, you're literally beholden to the company's schedule. Yeah. And, I remember you'd go in, you'd start meetings at 8 a.m, you'd finish at 6 p.m, you'd go home, put the kids to bed as soon as you can, and then go back to work. Yeah. It just was it was terrible. At least in this environment, you can control some of it. Yep. Hey, can we do a late or an early meeting? I've taken 5 a.m. flights so I could be home that night, right? And just say, hey, I'm going to grind this one out and get a lot less sleep and, jump to the airport at 3 a.m. So just trying to balance that. I'm not good at it. Yeah. I don't think any of us are, but, just trying to find those moments where you can do that. And then certainly today in the Zoom world, do you need to go travel across the country for an hour meeting? Mm-hmm. It depends how important it is and what you want to do with it. But I think it frees up a little bit more. But it's been hard. There are definitely times when I missed that I was like, oof. Yeah, I don't feel great about this. Yeah,
I agree, and I think you're right. It's good that if you can have a bit more control over your schedule, you're at least feeling like you're making those decisions yourself versus I don't have a choice. I've just got to do this or whatever, and you can find those trade-offs and make sort of
exactly
deal with your conscience as you try and work through what's the best way to do it. Now, your company is fully remote. Is that
That's
right as well?
right. No
Speaking
office.
of Zoom.
Yeah.
So how's that been from your perspective? Sort
You know,
of.
it's funny. Like, you know, I've been doing this a long time, getting older, had lots of different experiences, and you know, every once in a while you go, "There's not much left to learn," and then you come run a virtual company, and how do you build a team that's
Yep.
very founder led? So, like our principles, what we're trying to accomplish, the way in which we want to accomplish it. You know, Lauren really is inspired by this mission, but she's also inspired about the brand becoming great.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, and that takes a lot of work. So how do you start to build, you know, and then for me to come in, and I'm really just a shepherd for Lauren's mission
Right.
and Lauren, what she wants to do with the business. I'm helping her run day to day. I'm a partner to her, but this is her mission, and I'm really bought in.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
we're going to go.
Yep.
But you're bringing in a lot of new people. And, you know, and I was telling Alex earlier, it's when you're in an office, you might not, but you see in the periphery over here something
Yeah.
going on, and
Yeah.
you just, it's a little data point, and you can go talk to someone about something. You don't see that. You don't have all that periphery. It's just what's on Zoom. Zoom is rushed. We're trying to get it done in 30 minutes. Here's the meeting objectives. Here's the 3 agenda. Here's what the takeaway is going to be. And boom, boom, boom. And, you know, it just makes it so much harder. So leadership challenge for sure.
Mm-hmm.
New one for me. And I think, you know, and then coming into a company that you're kind of joining an existing culture, and how do you want to, you know, take that and bring it to life for everyone? Trying to get and travel in person as much as we can. I probably travel as much as anyone just to do more of that. More offsites. We haven't historically had the resources to really want to invest in the team getting together. And now as the team gets bigger, those resources takes more resources. And then I just do coffee chats. You know, I used to just walk around, you know, just grab, hey, you want to grab a coffee? And we'd walk around the building. And, you know, a lot of times I think as you're the executive in a company, they don't like the younger team members have trouble relating. And so I think that olive branch of just making sure you're spending time one-on-one. And it's really hard to do over video. So we're just, you know, I don't have it right now. I'm failing miserably certain days, but you know, I think just trying and experimenting some things, and getting different people at different levels to engage in what we're trying to do.
I found you just have to become more mindful about it, right? Like before, like you said, if you were just walking past, you'd stop in and check in, but that doesn't happen. So I have to set an appointment to check in, and the formality is a little awkward, but it's the only way around it, right?
I agree.
It just doesn't happen otherwise.
So,
it's a tricky one. I think we're all trying to deal with it. We're 50% here, 50% hybrid, and then half the company not, and that has its own challenges as well. And so every company is unique, and I think
we had an offsite, and there was 3 or 4 people that had been with the company over 6 months and had never met a live human being in the company. You know, and you're like, whoa. You know, so how do you figure out ways to navigate and make that more welcoming, warming, while you're really connecting everyone with what we're trying to do, our mission, our principles, our leadership principles, definitely is a challenge.
No, I agree. So one last question of, you know, talking about challenges, emotions in the business. You know, especially you've run a couple of companies now. You've been involved in that, you know, over the years, ups and downs and things like that. You know, COVIDs, not COVIDs, good times, bad times. How, you know, when you say you're bought into the mission, you're part of that. We start to feel those things personally as well, and become very attached to the business. How do you deal with all of those emotions and you know, not take them home to your family, those sort of things?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think I'm a grinder. And like, I'll just grind through stuff till like my nub, you know, down to nubs. But I know it's like, that's an outage. Like it's a great strength and a great weakness. Like,
I know what you mean.
You know, so for an entrepreneur to be a grinder, you actually have to be like, there's no other way around it. But the weakness is you'll grind no matter what. So I think what I've tried to do over the years is you just got to find your balance point. So I just think about a stool. So my stool is work, family, and then I try to physical for myself. And cycling is my thing. So I can honestly say on very few occasions over tens of thousands of miles I've ridden, I think about work. And so there's some mental refresh, reset, cleansing, in addition to the physical part of it, that I found to be incredibly powerful for me. and I can come back from a ride and my mind is in a different place, whether that's with my kids or your spouse or even work topics. And so I think just trying to find that balance, obviously family first for me, like if no matter what, if I have to drop something, I will. But I think that third leg of the stool of just finding that balance point, that reset, and it could be 30 minutes, meditate, and different people have different things. So that's what I found. What's interesting about, do you want to bring it home to work or not? The thing I haven't been shy about with my family is my kids see the struggle. This isn't easy. Like this entrepreneurialism, running small companies is the hardest thing I think you could ever do. It's really hard. Like how do you make payroll in a situation? Like how do I protect the jobs of the people that I've become so connected to when the business might not be going well? I mean, that's deep, hard stuff.
You can't shake that off, right?
No,
like
that's not who I am, right? So the thing I like about it is one of the messages I think you send your family, your children, as they're developing and learning, is life isn't always going to be unicorns and rainbows. Life is hard too. So I haven't shied about sugarcoating that life is, being a grinder in life is a good asset. And so whether that's in kids' sports or homework or going to college or friendships or relationships, I feel like that's been a gift that I've given my kids as they've seen me struggle through some of that. So I haven't been too shy about sharing that with them.
No, that makes a lot of sense. And I think as well, it's good for them to see that, it's bad, but we made it our way through and we found a way to do it. And when kids have problems, it's the end of the world, right?
Well, so it's funny. So one of the stories I've told all my kids is the story, but what buffalo and cows do when an impending thunderstorm's coming. And I use that same kind of like, just charge through it. Like no matter what the problem is life, it's never permanent. It's never always bad. Just charge through it. So I've talked about be a buffalo with the kids a lot, and they probably see me doing that with the work stuff too. So hopefully you hope that some of that stuck.
No, I'm sure it does. I'm sure it does. All right, let's bring this home. Did you bring us
I did. Dad joke? All right, so I got to tell so I'm all about movie lines.
Okay.
As much as I'm about dad jokes.
Okay.
All right. So my kids can quote most of the great John Hughes 80s and 90s movies. So it's funny. So one of them I used to say when my kids would ask me to do something, I'd go, negative, Ghost Rider, the pattern's full. And so now the funniest thing is my middle son's studying to be a commercial pilot. So he's studying aviation. So I always ask him, like, no matter when he flies, if he's buzzed the tower, he goes, negative, Dad, the pattern's full.
Good.
So I always, it's kind of fun to hear my kids now that they're a little bit like more, adults and snappy with me. So that's kind of a fun way to connect. So here's my dad joke.
Okay.
What did the duck say when he walked in the bar and bought everyone a drink?
Ooh, I don't know. What did he say?
Put it on my bill.
That's the perfect dad joke. Fantastic.
There you go. How about that?
That's great. Well, Doug, thank you very much for coming in. I really, really appreciate it. Thanks for your time today.
Yeah, appreciate it.